Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina, your host, and I'm visiting today with the director of Alabama, Sweet Home Alabama Tourism, correct? Lee Sentell. Hey, Lee, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. Appreciate it.
So it's very peculiar. I recently was engaged with the Birmingham Airport Authority and was invited to a ribbon cutting, which I've done 2 so far in my new position.
Good.
And I was seated next to Lee, and I found out in that process that he was directly involved with the Civil Rights Trail and a book that was produced with basically a photographic history of that trail. It's fascinating, and we will talk about that before the show is over. But Lee, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to the spot where you are, which sounds like a pretty good gig to me.
It really is. I'm the beneficiary of having grown up in a small town and have known Bob Riley since the nursery of the First Baptist Church. So.
And that was in Montgomery?
This was in Ashland in Clay County.
Ah.
It was a town of 1,500 people back in the day. And I had started out at the Decatur Daily. I was a journalist, and then I got interested in tourism. And I was at the Space and Rocket Center the decade that Space Camp started. And the only job bigger than that would be the state tourism director's job. And so I tried to get that under 2 governors, and then lo and behold, my oldest and best friend becomes governor and appoints me to the job he knew I wanted.
So there you have it. That's sort of how I ended up here, thanks to Karen Cole. She was looking for a host for a show required by the FCC, and I was chosen, and so far so good, I think. So thank you, Karen.
And you've had a great run so far. I hope we don't spoil it today.
I don't think we will. So Alabama, as I travel across the country, has a reputation that historically is not the best in the world. However, I want to think that that has changed and continues to change. Can you talk about how we are able to overcome that which we came from?
Interesting you should position it that way, because in my second year, I showed Bob Riley a beach commercial, a food commercial, and a civil rights commercial. And he said, "That last one, why are you doing that?"
Really?
And I didn't have an answer prepared, but I said, "Well, Governor, every state, just like every family, you inherit what came before you. And we don't have a great reputation. And if we don't tell our story, other people will, and we will not like their version." And that's why I wanted to start promoting civil rights landmarks as tourist destinations, so that we would take what was a negative as far as our reputation and turn it into a positive. And now we have several million people a year coming to Alabama just to go to the civil rights museums and landmarks.
So for purposes of our viewing audience, tell them where these places are and what they're called. I know the Montgomery Museum is one of them. Right here in Birmingham, we have the Civil Rights Institute, but there are more, I'm sure.
Yes, people know the original location. I mean, the whole world knows about 16th Street Baptist Church.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody knows about Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, where Martin Luther King is the only place that he was senior pastor. And our state office building is 1 block behind Dexter Church. So when I look out the cafeteria window in our office building, I'm looking down on Dexter Avenue Baptist Church.
Wow. Recently, when we met, there's a book, and we have the book with us today. We're not here to promote the sale of books, but we did open a gift shop through Hudson at the airport, because there is a tremendous display at the airport when you enter the airport about our civil rights history.
Yes.
And this book is a photographic display of that history. And you are, looks like the author, but I don't think you're the photographer.
Art Maripool, who was with Southern Living for 20 years, did an incredible amount of photography. I mean, all the photography in the book is his. Now, since you mentioned, by the way, my office doesn't make any money from this, and neither do I. But
Neither do I.
but there's a reproduction of the cover of this book that's about 9 feet tall.
Wow.
And Art Maripool's name is added beneath mine in that display.
And this book is available where?
Amazon.
Anywhere. I know it's available at the airport because I just recently took a trip to there.
Carol McElhaney, who is in charge of Hudson's assets at the Birmingham Airport, Nashville, Jackson, Mississippi. She's over 50 retail spaces in the Atlanta airport. And this whole store was her idea because they had an African-American centric store called Ebony, and that was named for Ebony magazine years ago. And then when Ebony went out of business, she thought, okay, I've got to come up with a new front door to sell African-American books and stories. And so she helped me come up with this book in the first place. It wouldn't exist without Carol McElhaney.
I do know it's on Concourse C as you come off a gate. It's just like any other Hudson store across the country in airports all over the place, except it has not just these books, but other memorabilia about our history. Plus, it has your usual things that you would want to buy in an airport.
They designed some really nice civil rights T-shirts with the logo that Lucky Advertising created, and they designed the book. Miles Wright designed the book, and Art Maripool did the photography, and I came behind them and had to write tight stories so that I wouldn't kick out too many photos.
Well, hope you'll get it. We're going to take a short break and come back and talk about some more things available for people that want to experience what's out there for tourism in Alabama. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm talking with Lee Sentell about Alabama and its tourism attractions. We're going to shift into some more specific places that people come from other places to see. I know them. There are a lot of others. Let's start at the north. I remember as a younger parent, I would take my child, because it didn't exist when I was a kid, to the space camp. Is that still a big deal?
It's huge.
Is it?
It was huge.
They get to dress up and be weightless and all that
It's
stuff?
hard for me to believe because I was at the Space and Rocket Center when Space Camp started 40 years ago. And it is known around the world. I think the people at Redstone Arsenal, Redstone Arsenal is the U.S. Army. And within Redstone Arsenal is the Marshall Space Flight Center, which is NASA. And I think when Space Camp...
Is that Alabama property or is that federal? It's federal.
Oh, that's federal property.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
And I think when Space Camp started, the people at NASA and the people at Army were a little annoyed because Huntsville became better known for Space Camp than the fact that, the real Army is there and the real NASA is there. And so we got support from all the people at Marshall Space Flight Center, particularly the PR people. And over time, astronauts started coming in on a regular basis. And
To train?
not necessarily, no.
To shake hands? To be available?
To visit Space Camp.
Okay.
There are 3 major centers involved in manned space flight: Houston, Florida, and Huntsville. Huntsville is in charge of what makes it go up. The astronauts are only there for minor issues, maybe just to learn more about some of the propulsion systems, but the astronauts are primarily in Houston.
So what does a tourist, what are they looking to do when they come to the Space Flight Center?
Well, Dr. Werner von Braun, the original German rocket scientist, was the guy who said the state of Alabama, not NASA, the state of Alabama should build a space museum and a space center, because he said if you put it in the federal budget, some senator from some other state could just one day just kill your budget right in the middle of your activities. So people are surprised to find out that the U.S. Space and Rocket Center is actually owned by the state of Alabama. There's a board, and the governor appoints people to that board, but it is the best space museum in the world, and that is a product of Alabama.
And do we have a number on how many visitors we get annually?
Pre-COVID, about 1 million visitors a year. It's the number one tourist attraction in the state, and
Oh, really?
yeah, and
Bigger than Vulcan?
in terms of numbers, there's a limited number of people who can be in and around Vulcan at one time. But the Robert Jones Golf Trail, which is certainly represented here, that's about 800,000 people a year.
Oh, it's big.
Yeah.
As a golfer, I know that. People that I know call me and ask me about it, and they want to come.
And the reason they know about it is because when David Bronner started that 30 years ago, he didn't want to pay for advertising. So he started investing in television stations to get his ads for free. And because of that, and Dr. Bronner shares some of that inventory with us. So free tourism commercials about the Space and Rocket Center, Alabama's beaches, are on 36% of the TV stations, of the TV sets in America.
So we got Space Camp, we got golf from tip to toe, goes all the way, right?
Yes, it goes from Huntsville and Florence down to Mobile.
Yeah, I've played some of them. And as we're moving our way southward, what do we have coming along the way that people travel from out of state into state? I know Barber Motorsports is a big deal.
Well, in the last few years, people have been coming to Montgomery in big numbers to see the Equal Justice Initiative, which...
The Legacy Museum.
Yes, which is, it's breathtaking.
It is.
And people come to Alabama to see that who have never been to Alabama.
And they come away in awe. There's a feeling when you leave that that I can't describe it, but there's a part of us, at least for me, is a part of me that just can't even believe the things that went on, but it happened. A lot of people have approached me because when you get off, like at the airport in Birmingham, you see the history on the mural, their mural there of the civil rights history. Some people say we need to stop promoting our history, which has got a mark on it, and start promoting our current, our present, and that we're not what we once were, that we are better things. So what are we doing to try to do that?
Well, I think you have to talk about your history. Otherwise, you're allowing other people to tell your story. And what the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute and what 16th Street Baptist Church have done is make the story understandable so that people can come, see the history, ask questions, and understand it better. And our state benefits when people become more educated about our history.
So as we move through Birmingham, any other things? I know we're a food town. I think that's got to attract foodies, especially when Highlands Bar and Grill was up and running. We were having people coming from just to eat there at a James Beard restaurant.
I asked Kathy Sloss last night, how many James Beard Award winners does Birmingham have? And she said, more than you think. She said, we're making a list, because I told her that Pepper Place needs to have like a signpost, like you would see in some distant place, you know, Paris that way, Istanbul that way, but just so that people, like you said, people who are foodies, I mean, if they knew that Birmingham had like a dozen James Beard Award winners, they would be blown away. But people come to Birmingham for the weekend just to eat.
Well, we're going to take a minute. Maybe we'll go out to eat after this is over. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We've been discussing the tourism, the tourist attractions in our state, and we've discussed some things that people know about. Let's not forget the Hank Williams Museum.
Hank Williams' birthday, 99th birthday is this week.
Oh, really?
And so we'll celebrate his centennial this time next year.
Do people go there?
Oh, yeah.
When they're down there golfing, they can take a excursion over to check out Hank's stuff. Hank's fascinating to me.
Well, there's a Hank Museum in downtown Montgomery, and then there's one in his hometown in Butler County.
Yeah. So we've talked about things that are in existence. What does the future hold for us? I know we've got the new City Walk downtown Birmingham,
Yes.
which, you know, if people are coming to Birmingham, that's something for them to do. But what else do we have out there throughout the state that we got to look forward to?
My first job was newspapers. And so when I got the job as state tourism director, I wanted to change the subject every year so that all of the media would have to write about us again or cover it. And so we did the Year of Arts, we did the Year of Small Towns and Downtowns, but the biggest thing that we did was the Year of Alabama Food. And I went to Chris Hastings and said, what does Alabama grow better than anybody else? And he said, our tomatoes are the best.
Really?
And so he said,
I know where there's some really good ones.
I'll
tell you later.
Oh, there are three different regions, but I'd be afraid I'd leave one out. And so I said, well, okay, then I want to do a contest for the best tomato dish. Will you help me? And he said, no. He said, but go see Kathy Sloss at Pepper Place. And so that's what we did. But the Year of Alabama Food, we made it broad enough so that we were promoting barbecue, seafood, country cooking, and fine dining. By doing that, we could get just about every community in there. So we did a brochure called 100 Dishes to Eat in Alabama Before You Die. And I mailed it out to the media and got a call from the Atlanta Journal saying, clever idea. I've just got one question. I said, what's that? And he said, I counted your list. There's 235. And I said, so what's your point? And he said, I want to come to Alabama next week and eat 100 dishes in a week. And which 100? I said, it's up to you. He did that, though, and he won a national award. We used his material, and we won a national award for your food.
But you're marketing to people outside of the state of Alabama.
Yes.
I'm assuming also people inside the state of Alabama need to be aware. I see TV ads sometimes,
Right.
like the land bank, forget what it's called, Forever Wild, I think it's called.
Right.
Tremendous national park system, state park system.
Our state parks are the best.
One of my pet peeves when I started this show, aside from getting more nonstop flights into Birmingham, and getting Uber into Birmingham, which we at Our Issues Birmingham do feel some responsibility for making happen,
Good.
was to light up Sloss Furnace.
Yes. Good.
It's lit now. How did that happen?
We put some money into it, and because Kathy Sloss said, oh,
It looks great at night.
it was so exciting. And the mayor knew that our office had put some money into it, and the night that he was lighting it, he saw me out of the corner of his eye and said, come over here. And he said, how did y'all get involved? And I said, well, Kathy Sloss asked me to do this. And I said, how many of you have worked with Kathy Sloss, and a lot of hands went up, and I said, the thing I've learned about Kathy, you just do what she says, and that way nobody gets hurt.
Well, I've tried to have Kathy on this show, and I'm looking at you right now, Kathy. Please come. I mean, we'd like to talk to you, but we've had a very difficult time dragging her up here. I don't know. She's a busy girl.
She's just, she's like a ghost that is here and there. I saw her at a restaurant last night where I was with some people from out of state who are going to bring a big convention to Birmingham a year from now, a big convention. And so I was tickled to see her there.
So we've talked about destination spots. Part of your responsibilities, it sounds like, based on that last comment, is to reach out to organizations who need a place to meet. Is that part of it? I mean, how do you market yourself to the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers? I just use that one for an example.
Birmingham has an outstanding convention and visitors bureau, and Mike Gunn is in charge of big conventions.
You work with them?
On an occasional basis.
Parallel,
yes, because this was something that it's very big, and so they asked us to participate. And so I think we got a good sense last night that they've chosen Birmingham, but that'll be an event a year and a half from now.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that these things don't show up overnight. Lastly, in our last minute here, we just had the World's Games. It got some bad press about being in debt. I am trying to communicate, I think you can, that the intangible value of having that event here is still being felt and will be felt and received for years to come.
The PR value of something like that will go for years. I remember many years ago, there was a sort of World's Fair in Canada, and people said, oh gosh, they lost money. But then people talked about that city for the next 20 years. And that's the great upside for what Birmingham has done.
So lighten up on the World Games. It was a good thing. Thank you for being with us today. It's been a pleasure. This is Our Issues Birmingham. We'll see you next Sunday.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I've taken 25 selfies in the last 10 minutes.
26.
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.